Hello everybody, I'm Harper Wynn and I'm going to be comparing The Harder They Come and Redemption Song by Bob Marley. But first let me give you some background on the two. So The Harder They Come is directed by Perry Henzell, a Jamaican filmmaker, and this is his best known film, and it kind of introduces the rest of the world to what Jamaican cinema is. And The Harder They Come tells the story of a Jamaican musician, Ivan, who turns to a life of crime in order to cope with the struggles of making a living. And then Redemption Song, it was written by Bob Marley and it's considered one of his greatest works. The music video itself is really cool and it consists of 3,000 original drawings which were done by French artists Octave Marsal and Theo Duguzel. I know I butchered those pronunciations, so you just have to forgive me on that. But the song, it was largely inspired by a line in a speech given by Marcus Garvey, who is a Jamaican political activist. And in this line he says, quote, "We are going to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery because whilst others might free the body, none but ourselves can free the mind," end quote. And then, in addition to this, Bob Marley was diagnosed with cancer shortly before he wrote the song, Redemption Song. And you can see the influence of that within both the music video and the lyrics of the song itself. So, what are we talking about today? Today, I'm answering the question, how did these motion pictures, Redemption Song and The Harder They Come, portray a message of hope in spite of neocolonialism? And the answer to this is just composition. So, composition is how the characters and objects are arranged within the frame of a film. And in both of these works, the elements are positioned in the frame to showcase a shift in power dynamics. So first, in The Harder They Come, when Ivan is signing the record deal with Mr. Hilton, he is literally towering over Mr. Hilton, who's sitting in his car while he's signing the deal. And this alludes to the power shift we see shortly after he signs the deal, when he goes into his life of crime. And then also, it plays into the larger message of the film that one can rise up despite neocolonialistic forces like pressing down on them. And it just in a very literal sense in that he has risen up over Mr. Hilton. And in this movie, Mr. Hilton represents neocolonialism in that he has control over the entire music industry within this town. And everything that is sold and played, it all goes through him. So he controls every aspect of it. But despite this, Ivan's song skyrockets and he still manages to get a level of fame like nobody would have believed because he has risen up over the people that are trying to control him. We also have a shift in power dynamics in Bob Marley's Redemption Song with the line flying high over those empirical looking buildings. Side note, if you know what those buildings are, please let me know. I could not figure out what they were, and I would love to know that information. So the line in this music video represents oppressed countries, more specifically Jamaica, with the beginning of the music video where the lion is sailing across the sea, and that quite literally calls back to Jamaican history. But the buildings that the lion flies over represents its oppressors and those that are in power and all of that. And by having the lion fly over it ties back to that message that one can rise up over their oppressors in a very literal sense. One thing that I noticed that Bob Marley's music video did that was different from The Harder They Come was the use of the zooming out to add to this message of hope, and in particular zooming out from space and then zooming out to Bob Marley playing the guitar. And this is really interesting to me from at first seeing just the line flying and then it zooming out to space. It felt very existential in a way with what I interpreted it as just by looking at those two aspects or that transition. I kind of saw it as oppressors make their victims feel small, but in retrospect, compared to the entire universe, we are all very small and we are just a speck in the grand sense of it all. But when you add the aspect of it zooming out again to show Bob Marley playing on stage, it turns into a very hopeful message in a way, which is very interesting in that it kind of gives off the vibe that, there are so many things that make us feel small in the world, or whether it's neocolonialistic forces or the universe itself. And in spite of all of that, we should be living in our truest forms. And for Bob Marley, that was being a musician and sharing his music and connecting with people through it. And when you think about what he was going through at the time when he was writing this song, it's very, very impressive that he was able to come up with such a hopeful message that he could give to people in spite of everything that was making him feel small in his life. So just a quick wrap up. Redemption Song and The Harder They Come both have a very empowering message that they give to their audience that one should have hope in spite of neocolonialistic forces oppressing them. And they both showcase this message utilizing composition in particular and a shift in power dynamics through composition. And then Bob Marley's music video utilizes a zooming out aspect to it to also add to that message. But that's all I had to share today. Thank you.